Have example after example of this administration coordinated, apparently, according to a federal court, by your agency, pressuring, coercing social media companies to engage in censorship. Is that constitutional?
That is unequivocally false.
Is what the emails show.
It is unequivocally false, Senator.
You are not pressuring the big tech companies to take down accounts. You are not meeting with them to ask them to censor on your behalf.
That is correct. We are not.
Mr. Secretary, it has been established for years in this country, as you very well know because you're a lawyer, that the federal government may not use private third parties to engage in activities that are unconstitutional. That's exactly what you and this administration are doing. You are leveraging private companies to carry out censorship on your behalf. It's dystopian, but worse than that, it's unconstitutional.
It's also false.
I've done some stuff personally in the past. I'm not planning on doing that this time. And that includes, not endorsing either of the candidates. Now, look, there's obviously a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. The historic events over over the weekend. And on a personal note, it's, seeing Donald Trump get up after getting shot in the face and pump his fist in the air with the American flag is one of the most badass things I've ever seen in my life. But look, it's, and I think, look, it's, at some level as an American, it's like hard to not get kind of emotional about that spirit and that fight. And I think that's why a lot of people like the guy.
Okay, so are we still conspiracy theories? Because first, several months ago, the CDC admitted that that whole mask mandate, wearing filthy cloth on our face, never worked at all, never helped stop the spread of C19 at all. A couple of months after that, Fauci sat before Congress and admitted that that whole 6 feet social distancing, 6 feet apart BS was completely made up. A number that they pulled out of their ass had no scientific basis at all, but they did it. After that, it became more commonly accepted that C19 did indeed come from a lab in Wuhan, funded in large part by Fauci's organization, the NIAID, which falls under the Department of Health and Human Services, is commonly accepted now. Because before, if you said, oh, this is the China virus, this came from a lab, you were labeled a crackpot, you were wearing a tinfoil hat, your conspiracy theories. But now it's common knowledge. Most people are saying that's what happened. And now, after all of that, we got Zuckerberg, billionaire CEO of Facebook and IG, admitting that they ran censorship. He's admitting that he was a stooge, a tool. He was carrying water for Joe Biden and his handlers, censoring people on Facebook, on IG, and pushing propaganda about COVID-19. But what does it do for us now? You coming out years later admitting, and we're going to get into why he's admitting it, but you're coming out years later admitting, yeah, we carry water for Joe Biden. Yeah, I was a billionaire puppet working for the Democrat Party. The feds, they have to fall under certain guidelines like free speech and other guidelines, the Constitution basically. The feds, the communists and the Democrat Party are upset that we have this inconvenient thing called the Constitution, that we have free speech. So what they do as a workaround is they use private companies to censor people. So the public square is social media nowadays, but the feds, the FBI, the Department of Homeland Security, working under Biden, working under Harris, they go to these organizations and say, look, this person, these people, these right-wing people, these people pushing against our agenda, these anti-communist people, we need you to shut them down. We need you to ban their accounts. We need you to suppress their tweets, their Facebook posts, all of that. Because if we do it directly, it'll be a violation of free speech. But you're going to do it, and then we'll say, oh, it's a private company. It's a private company. We can't do anything about it. So Facebook complied. Zuckerberg complied. He was the bitch for Joe Biden, sitting here pushing left-wing propaganda about C19 and even about Hunter Biden's laptop. But he has to come out now and admit that he was a lying sack of shit. He has to come out now and admit that his company was coordinating with Joe Biden's administration to censor people that they didn't like. And the reason why he has to do this is because of Elon. Because Elon ran a hostile takeover of Twitter. And now that Twitter is no longer coordinating with Facebook and pushing this propaganda and then censoring a lot of voices that the Democrat Party doesn't like, he has to make his company more neutral, because he'll look like an absolute fool if he's still pushing this left-wing propaganda, if he's still being the puppet, the bitch for the DNC, while there are millions of other voices, opposing voices, not censored on another platform, on Twitter, on X. So he has to come out for business reasons to stay competitive with growing social companies like Trump, True Social, like Elon's X, and other companies that are coming up and not falling into the DNC's propaganda. He has to say, okay, I can't be your bitch anymore because I have to be competitive with these companies. They're not censoring people, so I can't do it. Because if I continue to do this, then I'm going to start bleeding users and they're going to go to other platforms. And that's one of the reasons why Threads absolutely flopped, because he came out, did a copycat of Twitter, using Instagram to quickly build it up. It was all hyped up. Oh, Threads is going to be so great. Lasted for about 3 days and everybody completely forgot about it because of that reputation that he built over the previous few years of being a tool for the Democrat Party of censoring the truth. So let's look at this news clip here of what the hell is going on.
Today, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg saying he regrets not being more outspoken about what he called pressure from the Biden administration to censor content. The Facebook founder claiming the White House repeatedly pushed for the company to censor posts related to COVID-19 during the pandemic, saying administration officials expressed a lot of frustration when the tech giant resisted. Zuckerberg in a letter to the House Judiciary Committee saying, "I believe the government pressure was wrong," adding, "I feel strongly that we should not compromise our content standards and we're ready to push back if something like this happens again." The administration had stressed efforts to target misinformation online. President Biden asked about this the summer of 2021.
On COVID misinformation, what's your message to platforms like Facebook?
They're killing people. I mean, it really, look, the only pandemic we have is among the unvaccinated. And they're killing people.
Biden later insisted he wasn't talking about Facebook specifically. The White House responding, "Our position has been clear. We believe tech companies should take into account the effects their actions have on the American people while making independent choices." The Republican-led House Judiciary Committee celebrated Zuckerberg's letter today as a win for free speech. This comes as officials warn this year's election could be inundated with misinformation on social media.
So when we got on Facebook or Instagram years ago during the height of this C19 scare, this scamdemic, if you said masks don't work, if you said this was from a lab, if you said that 6 feet thing is completely useless, if you said anything outside of what the propagandists, what Big Pharma, what they wanted you to say, then your post would either be shadow banned or they would just be upfront about it, delete your post, make you apologize, or ban your account. This was happening. This happened for years, and Zuckerberg pushed it. But now he's trying to say, oh, no, I want to be neutral. It was wrong. And also with that Hunter Biden laptop, what was it, a month before the election when it came out that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were working for this energy company, Burisma, making millions of dollars. 10% for the big guy. We all remember that. Joe Biden was making millions of dollars working with companies in China. But what happened? The left-wing media, along with Facebook, along with the old Twitter, censored it. Completely pushed propaganda. Oh, we have 50 experts from the intelligence community. They said this is Russian propaganda. When the truth is, they were the ones pushing propaganda. And Zuckerberg is admitting, oh, it was a mistake. You come out damn near 4 years later, oh, I shouldn't have did that. What the hell does it do for us now that you admit that you lied about something 4 years ago and you helped Joe Biden win the election? These people are so full of crap, man. Some people are saying, okay, we're going to accept him because he's apologetic. Damn that, man. You helped push propaganda that led to what we're in now, the situation that we're in now, where these communists are trying to destroy the country. And we saw the little snippet of the White House statement in a news clip. Basically, Biden, Kamala, their handlers, they have no regrets. What they did, how they sent the FBI against these social media companies like Facebook, how they try to censor speech on social media, they have no regrets about it, because these communists have a different outlook of the world. They have a different viewpoint. So when they try to shut down speech, they think it's righteous. They think it's the right thing to do. So even to this day, they say, yeah, it was a deadly disease, people dropping dead in the street, so we had to shut people down. We had to take away their rights because a disease with a 99.7% survival rate was spreading across the country. A disease that we created in a lab in China was spreading across the country. So therefore, we had to take away constitutional rights from people. And we have no regrets about it. In fact, we might do it again if it happened again. That's what these people are saying. Now let's look at this clip here of Enes Kanter, former basketball player, now activist. And this guy, the reason why I'm showing this clip is because he's very well spoken on what the hell Zuckerberg them did on this issue. Is a short clip, but I think he's speaking for the masses in what he has to say.
Enes Kanter Freedom is a human rights activist, former NBA player, and he joins me now. Enes, great to see you as always. Rings a little hollow to me 4 years after the fact. What are your thoughts?
Thank you for having me. I mean, it's good for him that he finally came out and said something, but I think it's a little too late, buddy. This is an election interference and treason. I hear many people saying that this is a crime against humanity. The question is, I actually want to ask this to our audience. Does he actually regret it, or is it because he got caught? I think Meta and Mark Zuckerberg should be held accountable for interfering in our election. And please do not let them off the hook. They knew what they were doing, and they thought they can expect to get away with it. I mean, this is complete and direct violation of the First Amendment.
Now we're going to look at Rand Paul, and we know Rand Paul was the biggest bull out against Fauci, against pushing this propaganda, Fauci them lying to us, shutting down the country, all of that, completely destroying the country, education, the economy, all of that. Rand Paul was the biggest pit bull in Congress trying to expose this stuff, even though the media was working against him too. But let's take a look at what he had to say about Zuckerberg and censorship and all this crap.
I think you've probably at this point looked at Congressman Jordan's new report with the Weaponization Subcommittee. It's the weaponization of disinformation, pseudo-experts and bureaucrats, I think is the title. I mean, that shows a level of, let's say, coordination, even pre-2020 election. Have you looked at this?
Yes, and we're continuing to look at it, and we're working closely with Jim Jordan on this. We have a bill to try to fix this, the Free Speech Protection Act, and Jim Jordan is the lead in the House, and I'm the lead in the Senate. And our bill would basically make it illegal for the FBI or Department of Homeland Security or the White House or the CDC. It would be illegal for them to meet with anybody in the media, not just internet companies, but anybody in the legacy media as well, or the print media. It would be illegal, and they would be fired if they were found to be meeting to discuss, cajole, compel, coerce, any kind of discussion to limit constitutionally protected speech. And we decided to use the wording constitutionally protected speech because the FBI pushes back and says, well, we talked to them about taking down child pornography. Well, that's against the law, child pornography. It's not constitutionally protected speech. So it's a good way of trying to divide out what the government can and cannot do, because Christopher Wray pushes back and says, well, we talk to Facebook about putting terrorist posts. People are recruiting for Hamas. We want that taken down. Well, we're not objecting to stopping people from joining a violent group. So there are limitations on speech, but there is constitutionally protected speech. And me telling you that masks don't work or that your child doesn't need a vaccine for COVID, that is my opinion based on the way I've seen the science, but that is constitutionally protected, and in no way should the FBI or Department of Homeland Security or some outsourced project to Stanford or some other Berkeley be allowed to coerce them to take down my speech.
So there you have it. Well spoken by Enes Kanter, well spoken by Rand Paul. Complete BS by Zuckerberg. You want to write a letter of contrition years after the fact. Oh, it was a mistake. I shouldn't have censored the Hunter laptop stuff. We have new protocols in Facebook and Instagram to prevent it. What the hell does that do for us now? This guy is full of it, man. And he's trying to show some type of contrition, saying he wants to be neutral. I believe it when I see it. If the mob goes after him the way they went after Elon, the way they went after Joe Rogan, if I see that, then I know, okay, he's not blowing smoke up our asses. If I see the mob after him, and then I see him hold firm the way Elon stood firm against the mob, the way Joe Rogan stood firm against the mob, if I see that happen to Zuckerberg, okay, we may believe that you are truly contrite, but until then, I don't know. I can't believe this guy because, again, he was a billionaire bitch for the Biden administration, pushing left-wing propaganda, censoring the truth about COVID-19, which was used as a guise for the largest transfer of wealth in human history, where all of these big companies and these billionaires got even richer, and where the middle class was gutted and poor people were made poorer than ever. And he had a big company who helped that happen. But let me know what you guys think. Leave me your thoughts below. Share this video. Thanks for watching.